We've been treated to this
the
nonsense.
United Nations,
We've been treated
it's the international community organizations.
Where do you
have
think
to
they
open
get
your
the figures
eyes.
from?
I
Where do you
heard
think they
and
get the
all of
figures
what
from?
you say is
Thirdly, I will continue to speak if it kills you.
You are about to witness Douglas Murray absolutely destroy this Muslim who believes Hamas is a resistance group, instead of calling it what it is, a dangerous terrorist that is responsible for taking the lives of thousands of people with facts and statistics. Just take a look at what he had to say.
Precision bombs.
I have given you an unequivocal answer. Now, let me ask you if you can give me one.
Yes.
Do you believe Hamas are a terror organisation?
Okay, and I'd like to ask you, what does that mean?
Just answer my question.
Well, I need clarification.
Well, this country has prescribed them as a terror group. Do you think they are?
Are you the British government?
No, I'm asking you what you think.
Okay, so I want a clarification.
I gave you a simple, straight answer.
What does it mean?
No, you tell me.
I don't know. You're asking me a question. You asked the question.
You don't think they are a terror group?
No, I want your definition of what is a terror group?
An act that commits acts of terror, a group that commits terror attacks, as they did on October the 7th.
So one that commits terror attack. All right, fine. So define terror.
Do you want to answer the question or not?
I do, but I just want clarification.
No. We all know what terrorism is.
Please, no. Don't worry. We're going to go somewhere with this. We're going to go somewhere with this, right?
Well, are you going to answer the question?
Yes. Once I get your definition, what's a terror attack?
The definition is as is laid down in international law.
Which
is committing an act of terror.
Which is
terrorism.
Are you asking questions you don't know the definition of?
Well, why don't you tell me what you think it is?
I don't know. You're asking the question.
You've no idea what terrorism is.
No, I want you to answer your question.
I would say massacring 1,200 people on October the 7th in the way Hamas did is an act of terror. Do you agree?
So killing civilians is an act of terror?
No, that's not what I said.
So then killing civilians
Committing
is not an act of terror?
on that scale is terrorism.
So killing civilians is not an act of terror?
You're not going to answer.
Douglas Murray is right to challenge the opponent's evasiveness. This man's inability to clearly label Hamas as a terror organization is both troubling and indicative of a deeper reluctance to confront evil. As a society, it is essential to call out acts of terror for what they are. Hamas, by committing heinous acts of violence, such as the attack on October 7th, fits the definition of a terror group unequivocally. What we need to do is to stand against evil and protect the innocent. By failing to acknowledge the true nature of Hamas, the man is not only being disingenuous, but also compromising moral clarity. This lack of forthrightness undermines the fight against terrorism and jeopardizes the safety and security of countless innocents.
I'm going to bring in Douglas Murray. You're just sitting patiently here. Douglas, first of all, what was your reaction to this interview with an NHS doctor last night on this show?
Well, let me first of all say that it's necessary to clear quite a lot of things up because we've heard quite a lot of hogwash in the last few minutes. Firstly, your guest last night is a member of an extremist organisation, Hizb ut-Tahrir, which is banned in many countries, including in European countries. And it's also banned in many Muslim countries. It's banned in Pakistan, it's banned in Egypt, and that's because these Muslim governments recognise that it is an extremist group that has a revolutionary ideology that wants to replace government in Muslim countries as well as in... do you know Germany?
One European country is banned in, Douglas Murray. I'm not going to let you lie to the audience like you usually do. You're going to justify everything you say on this show, Douglas Murray. Right, so please, give me one country
Germany.
It's not banned in Germany.
I just said
it's not banned in Germany.
You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening.
To the audience. Google it for yourself. You know, Hizb ut-Tahrir in Germany, really are they banned as an organisation?
Is this Mr. Al-Andalusi? Can I just check? Because I can't see you.
It is,
Is that him?
Yeah.
OK. This is a guy, he's of no significance, but he's a guy who I have seen in studios for years, spouting extreme Islamist rhetoric. Many years ago, he couldn't condemn the killing of the journalists at Charlie Hebdo. Last year, he wouldn't condemn the attempted murder of Salman Rushdie. Now he can't do this. He fails every single test.
Douglas Murray's point is spot on and deserves our full support. It's crucial to recognise and call out extremist organisations like Hizbah. Failure to do that will be dangerous to our society. Douglas rightly points out that Hizbah is banned in many countries, including Muslim-majority ones like Pakistan and Egypt, due to its dangerous revolutionary ideology. These bans are not arbitrary. They are based on the group's clear threat to societal order and safety. By exposing the truth about Hizbah, Murray is taking a stand for justice and truth, which aligns with our societal values of protecting the innocent and upholding moral integrity. It's essential to confront and discredit extremist ideologies to protect our communities from dangerous terrorist groups and maintain peace.
Let me get on to the question. I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage in a bun fight with this Islamist. Let me answer the question that Piers put to me before you try to interrupt again.
Only if you don't lie.
Let him answer, please.
First of all,
let him answer, please.
But, all right.
First of all, I'm not going to keep being talked over by this Islamist blowhard. Let me speak. First of all, your first guest treated us to the first bit of mouthwash this evening by claiming that the word jihad can mean absolutely anything. Nonsense. When a big bearded member of Hizb ut-Tahrir calls for jihad on the streets of London, then they are not calling for an interpersonal struggle with the nature of the divine. They are calling for violence. And anyone who can't recognise that should be questioned about their own motive.
Douglas Murray's assertion is absolutely. It is crucial to recognise the true intentions behind the calls for jihad made by extremist groups like Hizbah. Douglas rightly identifies that these calls are not about a peaceful inner struggle, but about inciting violence on poor, innocent people. By exposing this truth, Douglas is protecting our communities from the dangers posed by radical ideologies. It is essential to stand firm against such extremist rhetoric to uphold the values of peace, justice, and moral integrity that are central to our society. As Douglas rightly points out, those who fail to see this threat should have their motives questioned.
Secondly, we've just been treated to a monologue about casualty figures in Gaza. Where do these figures come from? I'll tell you where they come from. They come from Hamas. It's quite remarkable to me that 2 months after the October the 7th massacre, the Israelis still don't know the precise number of people murdered on October the 7th. There's a reason for that, because it takes time to work out massacres of that scale. One of the striking, I just don't know if either of your guests are going to allow me a word in.
Because you are lying, and even the numbers from Israel, from the IDF, which are not accredited.
No. You will,
These are your
it's
numbers.
really interesting hearing somebody who presents themselves as a moderate being a spokesperson for Hamas. So let me continue. They are Hamas figures. They are all provided by the ministries of Hamas, which is a prescribed terrorist organization. If you want to reel off Hamas figures, then be my guest, but you are not able to mislead the viewers of Piers' show by quoting Hamas figures at his viewers as if they are holy writ.
Douglas's point about the casualty figures in Gaza is spot on and needs to be highlighted. As a society, we should not just accept any figures being put out by the left-wing media. It's essential to question the sources of information, especially when they come from a group like Hamas, which is a recognized terrorist organization. Relying on figures provided by Hamas is not just misleading, it is dangerous. Douglas rightly highlights the importance of scrutinizing these numbers and not taking them at face value. This vigilance is crucial in ensuring that the truth prevails and that the narrative is not controlled by those with malicious intent. Douglas's emphasis on the need for accurate information aligns with our values of truth and justice.
We've been
treated to this nonsense.
United Nations,
we've been treated
the international community organizations.
Where do you think they get the figures from? Where do you think they get the figures from? Thirdly, I will continue to speak if it kills you. Thirdly, World War II. It is nonsense that what has been happening in Gaza has, as you said in this endless list of fallacies, that there has been more bombing in Gaza, more deaths and destruction in Gaza than during World War II. Do you know anything about World War II?
Almost,
do you know anything about World War II?
In Dresden alone.
Do you know
anything about World War II?
Alone. Take one German city. The destruction was on a scale totally dissimilar to what has been happening in Gaza.
I'm taking London.
Very, very interested. I'm very interested, and I will, once again, I will finish this point, even if both of these blowhards keep trying to talk over me. I will finish the point I wanted to make.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you both. Let me ask Douglas one question. Douglas, specifically about the doctor.
Douglas's comparison of the situation in Gaza to World War II is a powerful reminder of the importance of historical context. It is very essential to recognize the scale of destruction and loss during World War II. Comparing any modern conflict to such a monumental event requires careful consideration and accuracy. Douglas rightly points out that the devastation in a single German city during World War II far surpasses what has been seen in Gaza. This perspective helps ground the current conflict in reality, preventing the spread of exaggerated and misleading claims by the left-wing media. By doing so, we uphold the truth and ensure that historical facts are not distorted for political agendas.
It is very important for your viewers to hear the following definition. The definition of terrorism is the deliberate targeting of innocent civilians. That is what Hamas specializes in. That is what Hamas did on October the 7th.
And that's what is happening in Gaza also.
Is what Israel is doing terrorism? No, for the following reason. And again, you can lie about this if you want, but do not expect not to be challenged about it. What the IDF is doing is the same manner of war as the British Army, the American Army, and all other armies in the civilized world. They target terrorists like Hamas, and there are civilian casualties. Yes, there are. But it is not the aim of the IDF any more than it is of the British or American armies to target civilians. And anyone who pretends otherwise is lying to the public watching.
Douglas's point about the definition of terrorism is crucial and must be understood clearly. It is extremely vital to differentiate between the actions of Hamas and those of the IDF. Terrorism, by definition, involves the deliberate targeting of innocent civilians, which is precisely what Hamas specializes in. In contrast, the IDF and other military, like the British and American armies, targets terrorists and aims to minimize civilian casualties. While civilian casualties do occur, they are not the objective of the IDF's operations. This distinction is fundamental to understanding the ethical and moral differences between the two sides. Accusing the IDF of terrorism is not only misleading, but also a disservice to the truth. As Douglas rightly points out, we must stand firm in recognizing the just efforts of Israel to protect its citizens while combating terrorism.
Douglas, final question before I go back to the two in the studio here. And it's specifically about the doctor that was on last night, whether he should be allowed to continue practicing as a GP when he identifies Hamas as a resistance group, wouldn't say that it committed an act of terror, said he didn't even believe that there had been a massacre, and was also quite blatantly homophobic, amongst other things. Well, he didn't actually. Douglas,
but not Douglas.
You say you believe.
Let me ask Douglas.
Said if.
Douglas, please.
Let me ask Douglas.
Douglas, the medical association.
I'm asking
the
Douglas.
medical association.
I will come both to.
The medical association is the one who is assigned to.
Fine. I'm asking Douglas what his view is.
Douglas.
He's
not a medical doctor.
I'm asking Douglas's opinion. Douglas.
Well, you don't seem to be much of an impartial observer of this, I have to say myself. I thought slightly highly of you before you started ranting as much as Mr. Al-Andalusi this evening. I'll tell you what I thought of it, Piers. I think our country has had enough of people like your guest last night. It's not just that he's in the NHS. Why is he in Britain? Why do we allow people in Britain to try to overthrow the state, who praise terrorism, members of extremist organizations? What has Britain got from this guy exactly? What benefit have we got from him? I mean, I wouldn't want to be an NHS patient going to him. I don't know if any Jews would particularly want to in Britain. I don't know if very many innocent people would want to go to this doctor. But my question is not just should he be able to practice. I want to know why our country of Britain has been such a soft touch for decades that we have Hamas leaders, terrorist spokespeople, Islamist sympathizers like your guest, Mr. Al-Andalusi, and now NHS doctors who are members of groups like Hizb ut-Tahrir that stand on the streets of London, call for jihad, call for Muslim armies to arise. I don't think our country benefits anything from these people. I think people like that should leave. We have no need of them.
Douglas's conclusion is a powerful call to action for Britain to reassess its stance on individuals who support extremist ideologies. As a society, it is essential to uphold the values and security of our nation. Allowing individuals who praise terrorism and exhibit blatant bigotry to practice in the NHS is not only dangerous, but also undermines the integrity of our society. As Douglas rightly says, Britain has been too lenient, and it's time to take a firm stand against those who seek to harm our nation from within. Finally, Douglas offers us the only solution possible at this moment, and a horrifying example of the consequences that await us if we don't act. We must prioritize the safety and well-being of innocent citizens and ensure that our country is not a haven for those who support terrorism. We need stricter measures to protect our society from such dangerous influences. What are your thoughts on what Douglas has to say in this heated debate? Be sure to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments section what your thoughts are. See you in the next video.